سلام بچه، خوش آمدید در چینل حسین 5000. امیدوارم که جور و صحتمند باشین و امروز هم ما سعی میکنیم که چند تا کلمات جدید رو با گوش دادن با اخبار با هم یاد بگیریم و چینل ما رو هم سابسکرایب کنید تا ویدیوهای بعدی ما رو هم از دست ندهین. revenue revenue apprehensive apprehensive accelerated accelerated engagement engagement specifically specifically leverage leverage acquire acquire curious curious threat threat susceptible susceptible sophisticated sophisticated implementation implementation execute execute infrastructure infrastructure surround surround
Twilio closing lower today following its earnings last night, lost almost 5%. The company posted a smaller than expected loss and a revenue beat. However, much like some other big tech companies we've seen, it's the earnings outlook that has some investors a bit worried. Joining us now in a Closing Bell exclusive interview is Twilio CEO Jeff Lawson. Jeff, good to see you. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me here.
So let's speak to that a little bit in terms of the outlook from here. Obviously, very strong results. Seems like the overall demand picture looks good. You talked about forward-looking revenue guidance, but the market is very apprehensive about whether there was a pull forward of a lot of digital business, such as yours, you know, helping on the messaging front and a lot of the kind of digitization of business. So where do you stand on all that?
Well, I don't think the idea that the digital transformation of the world is a pull forward, right? This has been a secular tailwind for the entire economy for, you know, the last 15, 20 years. It is going to continue. If anything, companies' investment levels and the importance of these digital roadmaps have been accelerated by the events of the last 18 months. If you think about it, every company has had to become a software company, had to invest in digital channels, digital customer engagement, and have had to do it even more quickly and more importantly because of the nature of the pandemic, where we engage digitally so much more. And so we've seen customers across every industry, big and small, new and old, accelerate their investments and build more, and those roadmaps are getting more and more prolific every day. And so I don't think the idea that digital investment and digital acceleration is going to slow down anytime soon, and I think history would agree with me.
Yeah, certainly as in terms of the overarching trend. I wonder if maybe it would be helpful to talk a little more specifically about what you're seeing right now in terms of the types of things being demanded by this current crop of customers, what kinds of customer communications and engagement and analytics are going around that. Maybe people aren't too clear on exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, what Twilio helps companies do is engage with their customers digitally. So using channels like voice, text messaging, chat, video, email, etc., and help companies to modernize their systems, like their contact centers, or their understanding of their customer with their CRM, or in their marketing, using all those new channels to really understand your customer. And one of the big trends that's going on right now in many of the businesses that we work with, we have over 240,000 companies that leverage our platform, is the fact that you can no longer rely on third-party data to grow your business. Means that companies have to really understand their customers and take all the data that they see. How are you using my website? How are you using my mobile app? What have you bought in the past? And how can I use that understanding to actually help you become an even better customer and to serve you better? And that's why Twilio, we acquired last year the leading customer data platform. It's called Segment. And we're seeing companies, again, of every shape and size, really saying, wow, we need to understand our customers, listen to them, and then execute with great marketing, great sales, great in-product experiences, and great service and support. We need to surround that customer with a great experience and You do that by understanding the customers and what they're saying about themselves to you, and then engaging with them across all those touch points. So that's what Twilio does for our customers, and you can imagine that that is more important than ever because of all the digital tailwinds that we see.
I'm curious about your vantage point on cybersecurity, given that it has become such a major threat for so many businesses, and they're obviously going to be talking to their customers about it. What have you seen across your industries in terms of the amount of cyber attacks and what you're doing to help them communicate?
Well, absolutely. The importance of cybersecurity is more important than ever. We have more data that resides in various databases, and so therefore more at risk and also harder to secure as companies invest. But the interesting thing is we've seen that companies that invest in using cloud services like Twilio, like software as a service applications, or like platforms as a service broadly, think like Amazon and Azure and Google Cloud, they are less susceptible to those cybersecurity attacks because you're protected by the pooled resources of those cloud companies. And so as companies have moved to the cloud versus trying to run it in their own data centers or running on-prem software, which is hard. It's hard for every company to do a great job of that, especially when you have very sophisticated attackers, even nation states behind some of this stuff, that actually pooling our defenses and getting behind big cloud scale implementations has proven to be a more secure path for companies. And so that's, I think, another advantage that is driving, that is fueling this growth in cloud infrastructure.